The Andy Pollin Show on ESPN 630, the sports capital.
This is Orioles Preview. Orioles try to break their losing streak tonight as they close out the series with the Guardians. See, I got that right. You thought I was going to say the other name of the team. It's the Guardians, who have taken the first two from the Orioles, and they'll try to avoid being swept tonight with Grayson Rodriguez on the mound. Coverage here will start at 6 o'clock. I was there last night, and boy, there were a lot of hits and a lot of home runs, just that the Guardians had more of them. They won the game 10-8, and Cole Irvin was not good. He gave up 10 hits. He gave up 8 runs, only 4 of them earned because of an error, but he drops his record now to 6-4, and this was manager Brandon Hyde after the game talking about the offense was good, the pitching not so much.
Well, I'm not frustrated in our offense. Get 16 hits, scored 8 runs on these guys. We should win the game. But, we didn't pitch well enough to win.
Yeah, the thing is, they're a good hitting team. They just have not been scoring runs lately, and they break out of it last night. Adley Rutschman had a hit. Ryan Mountcastle had 3 hits. And they batted Gunnar Henderson, they batted him cleanup in this game, and he hit his 25th home run of the year. So there was plenty of offense to work with. Cole Irvin just couldn't get it done, and talked to reporters about it after the game.
Just didn't execute pitches, 2 strikes, was Thailand the whole day. Plan probably is against me is that I'm going to throw a lot of strikes and see it up in the zone, see it up out over, and, votes caught me a couple times in my career. So probably a pretty good scouting report on what I'm trying to do, and just was one of those days where, made the adjustment a little too late and just couldn't get down in the zone or stay up in the zone, just kind of stay Thailand all day.
Is it more difficult to accept because the team had such a good night offensively?
I don't care what night it is. It's not a good night for me, and I've had a stretch of games here that I'm not happy with. And offense did their part. Bullpen definitely did their part. Just got to minimize damage and got to be better in early innings and start cruising. Be down in the zone, be up in the zone, not Thailand. At the end of the day, sucks. So I'm not happy with performance as of late. Going to fix it, and definitely my mind's in the right place right now, just trying to get to where I need to be.
Well, to compound things, they're really hurting for starting pitching. Just this past week, they lost 3 for the year. Kyle Bradish, Tyler Wells, John Means, all heading for elbow surgery. And you just can't win if you don't have starting pitching. And the question now is, as we get closer to the trade deadline, we're just over a month away from that, will they make any deals? Rock Kabatko is an analyst with Masson, covers the team. He was on the High Heat show on the MLB network and discussed what is really needed right now, starting pitching, and the question is, will they go out and get it?
I think they're going to get a starter, at least one. I don't know. Front line, they've got one of the best farm systems in baseball, if not the best. But Mike Elias hasn't really shown a willingness at this point to dig deep into it in order to bring in guys. He's made some trades, obviously, but he's been able to hold on to his top 10 guys. He isn't a hoarder, but he's a collector of prospects. So it depends what other teams are asking for. But I do think they'll add at least one starter. And it could be a middle to back end type rotation guy. But then again, I never thought they'd trade for Corbin Burns, and they've got him. So, they're full of surprises, but they definitely are going to have to strengthen the rotation. And it's really become a priority now. I feel like they have enough wins in the bank. They should be okay for the postseason, but they want to win a World Series. You think they're equipped to do that. So I feel like they're going to have to be somewhat aggressive at the deadline. The problem is, as you know, how many teams are sellers with that extra wild card, and as early as it is now to project which teams are willing to deal. There aren't a lot of them at this point, and you have every team needs pitching with all these surgeries and injuries and everything else, and teams still haven't identified themselves buyer, seller. Most of them are looking for pitching. They're not looking to give it up.
Yeah, especially in the National League with that logjam going for that third wild card spot. It seems like all but 2 teams in the senior circuit could be buyers because they could still be in it. The Baltimore Orioles have such depth in their lineup. It's a long lineup, and I don't know if I was going to pick one guy out of the lineup to be the superstar. What a luxury to have that, Rock. I mean, who has impressed you the most? You have obviously Gunnar Henderson, who's on pace for 50 home runs. You have Anthony Santander. He has 11 home runs this month. Jordan Westbrook is on pace to drive in 93. By the way, you have Adley Rutschman, and it just goes on and on and on. It's an impressive lineup.
It is. It is funny you say that with Rutschman because we tend to forget him a little bit. We're talking about early MVP candidates, and everybody's talking about Gunnar, and rightfully so. But it's like, oh, by the way, look at the season Rutschman is having. But really, I think one of the really, really big, I don't know about surprises, but developments is Jordan Westburn, because he was kind of more the platoon type role when he came up last year. And we figured it was going to be kind of similar to that this year, but we also thought in spring training that Gunnar was going to be playing short and third. We didn't know he was going to be strictly a shortstop, and that's worked out really well. So Westberg's second and third. He's been given really good defense at both spots, but he also gives him some of the best at-bats that you see on this team. Just really it's a cliche, but a professional hitter for a guy that's still that young, drives the ball to all fields, works counts, and he has been huge for them on top of all the other talent they have. So it is really an impressive lineup, and that's why it kind of makes you ask, like, what is going on when they stop scoring? And even guys like Cedric Mullins and Austin Hayes that got off to really, really slow starts have been heating up. So, I feel like they're going to bust out any time. And it really is a talented, young, deep lineup to the point where some of the prospects they bring up, especially outfielders, don't get a lot of at-bats and looks because it's hard for them to crack the lineup. Ryan O'Hearn is one of the most underrated hitters in baseball and one of their best hitters. And he plays some outfield. He's usually the DH against right-handers if Ryan Mounthouse is at first, but he also plays first. So he's kind of clogging that lineup as well, but rightfully so, because he's been such a find since they got him from the Royals. Something unlocked with him when the Orioles hitting instructors got a hold of him, and he has been really, really good for them.
So that's Rock Kabatko, who works for Masson, talking to High Heat about the Orioles and where they stand right now. Again, they need pitching. The hitting has been, as he said, terrific. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a lineup that includes Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson every night? And both of them, I think, at this point, are legitimate candidates for MVP in the American League. Rutschman hitting 300. He had another hit last night. Henderson hit his 25th home run. He's hitting 282. And maybe batting him a cleanup, they thought, and it did. I mean, it did produce runs last night, but they've got to find a way to get more. Now, here's where they are as you look at the schedule. They went 2 years without being swept in a series. 2 years. And last month, that streak was finally broken. They're coming off their second straight sweep as they lost all 3 games over the weekend. And now the Guardians have a chance as they close out the series tonight at Camden Yards to complete the sweep. So that would be back-to-back sweeps with Texas coming in. And Texas hasn't been great this year. They're below 500, 5 games under. But they got Max Scherzer back, and he pitched very well in his first outing of the year the other night. And they're the defending champs. And so that's going to be a really key series coming up as they get back on the road. Now, the one break they're going to get is that they're going to get Oakland, and Oakland is a bad team, though not as bad as people thought. They're not as bad as the White Sox, and they're not as bad as Colorado. They're a team that is overachieving probably for what they are, and they're a mess because they're about to move to Sacramento next year. So that will be a chance for them to pick up some ground on the road. They got the Mariners in between. Mariners are a first-place team. So this is going to be really key to see if they can get back on track. I think they're still a good enough team that they'll find a way, and whatever's been bothering them in the last couple of weeks will get better. The one thing that's helping them is finally the Yankees have cooled off a little bit, and the Yankees lost again last night, so the lead is only 2 in the American League East. And frankly, the way it's looking with the way the Yankees are playing, you got to figure that they're the best team in the league right now. I mean, if they get health from Judge and Soto the rest of the way, and they get Cole back, they're going to be a very formidable team. They're 52-29, but the fact that they're sliding a little bit, losing last night to the Mets in the start of the Subway Series 9-7, that's a little bit helpful for them. So As you look at the Orioles, maybe you're getting a little nervous. The fans have gotten a little spoiled in the last couple of years. It's only been 2 years, right? Because last year they were pretty much, not a wire to wire, but once they got heated up in June, they kind of put away the division. It's only 2 years ago that the expectations were pretty low for them. And to have gone through a 5-game losing streak at this point in the year, you probably wouldn't have said, oh, my God, this is terrible. Then you would have said, well, that's the Orioles. They're still a ways away. But now they're a team that can legitimately think about being in the World Series if they can pick up some starting pitching. But as you heard Kabatko say, everybody is looking for that. And with all the arm injuries that are across baseball, who knows what's going to be available. But again, the series close out tonight. And they're hoping that Grayson Rodriguez can be the starter. He's had a good year. He's 8-3 with a 3.82 ERA. The team is 9-4 when he pitches. And this is the classic case of the need for the stopper. And hopefully for the Orioles, he can be the stopper tonight as our coverage here will start at 6 o'clock. I want to thank Rex Minturn for running the show. Thank you to Ben Wagner, one of the voices of the Orioles, for a good 30 seconds. Sorry we had the technical problems, but maybe we'll try to get him on next week. Tony is coming up next, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.